perform a service on an L2501 compact tractor. Let's get into it. Well, first things first, before we start, we need our filters. So everything here is gathered. Right here is an engine oil filter. Here's your water separator fuel bowl filter. And here's your transmission HSC filter and your suction filter, or just regular transmission oil filter, air filter, your engine oil, and with every 50-hour service we grease it. And there's a kit you can buy. Here's a little safety tip for you guys that want to perform this service for yourself. Here at Union Farm, we take safety number one. What we as techs like to use is a piece of metal or angle iron to lock out this hydraulic cylinder. In case of a loss of oil pressure or a busted line or a weeping line, this loader could come down and harm anyone around you or yourself. So any extra safety is key. Under here there's a little latch. Open that. That releases the hood. There's a couple panels on either side. We're going to remove these so we can open it up and get at our oil filters. I'll perform that right now. Usually I like to grab 3 rags for this job. First we're going to start with draining the engine oil. There's 2 drain plugs because the oil pan is a split oil pan. So we're going to remove both drain plugs. It'll be a 19mm socket. Try not to get any oil on you. I like to set those on a rag just to keep them nice and clean while I remove the next one. And you may be asking, why is it draining so slow? Well, I usually pop the oil fill because it creates a vacuum within there and it won't allow your oil to drain all the way. Now, I'll pop that, leave that.
Leave it in loosely?
Yeah, leave it in loosely just so you don't misplace it. And typically, I like to stay proactive when the oil drains, so I'll usually swap over and change the air filter out. There'll be a tab here and a tab on the back side. These caps are labeled top. You always want to make sure it's on the top. Ice and water will get in there, freeze, and it will just wreak havoc. You remove your air filter. You can go ahead and install that. Like I said, make sure the top is at top. You might have to spin it a little to get it in the right groove. Make sure that's on there. Another thing, while I'm right here, a lot of things that get overlooked is this screen right here. If you look over here, there'll be a little screen, and usually it's in there pretty tight. So you slide that out, and that acts as a protectant for your radiator. A little dandelion fuzz. Usually I'll just take some shop air, blow that out, and That all off of there. We'll go ahead and reinstall this project. There we go. Make sure that's down there, holding that in there. Now that the oil is drained mostly out, I'm going to go ahead and change the engine oil filter. Place our oil pan under here. I'll remove the old filter. Usually I like to let it drain out a little bit before I go remove it completely, so you don't make a mess. I think that's drained out enough. Go ahead and remove it completely. Well, engine oil doesn't look too bad within there. We'll set that in our pan. We'll get a new one. I take a little bit fresh oil, just lubricate the top of that O-ring so when it meets that mating surface it really seals. We'll install the new one. Hand tight, as tight as you can get it. And that is good. Right next to the engine oil filter is your fuel water separator filter. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. You kind of see a little bit of stuff in there. It's not too bad. Usually that's pretty easy to get off of there. Make sure your hands under there. You might get a little mess on this one. In here, there's an O-ring and another little O-ring inside of there. You got to make sure on the new one it has both of those. Get all that out of there. We're going to install these two O-rings. This one O-ring. Inside of there. Usually I just use a pick and softly poke it down in there. Make sure it's seated within its little seat there. And I'll install the new one back into the cup. The O-ring around the top, and that kind of just sits there. Go ahead and place it back in its housing. You might get a little fuel on you because there's a little plunger in there. As soon as you put it on there, it starts to feed that. You just want to tighten that by hand. Alright, now that we got the easy steps out of the way, we're going to go ahead and put our drain plugs back in the oil pan. So usually I just wipe them off with a rag, make sure there's no dirt or any debris on them. There's two little copper washers on there. We're going to make sure those are still there. Those are still in good shape, so I'm going to reuse them. And wipe the second one off. We're going to go ahead and tighten them. You don't want to lose those. You don't have to crank them right down. I like to tighten until it feels good. I'm a pretty big guy, so it usually doesn't take too much. Right about there is all I want to push it. With that being said, nose on, we're going to fill it with oil now. Go ahead and grab our funnel. Place that in the oil fill spot. And the tractor asks for, and it takes 6 quarts of SAE 15W40 engine oil. Kubota, of course. And go ahead and put first 4 quarts in. First one's down, that's 4 quarts. Go ahead and add 2 more quarts in there. And install our fill plug. Make sure that's nice and tight in there. Make sure nothing can get in there. And right here is your dipstick. I usually like to check it real quick. Okay, good. We're a little above line, but it's got to suck it through the oil filter first. We'll go ahead and start it up, and then we'll double check our level. Let it run for a little bit, get the oil in there. Now that we let it run a little bit, we're going to let the oil settle down in the bottom of the oil pan, so then we can recheck our level. So after the oil has made its way down to the base pan, with a clean rag, we're going to check our level. I might have to wipe that one off first and recheck it. So now we're going to change the HST filter and the transmission filter. And we have this little nifty device we use here at the shop. It's called the Vac Track. What it does is it holds vacuum on your transmission case. So when you remove the filters, none of the oil seeps out and you don't lose any of your oil, and you save yourself quite a bit of money in oil. So we're going to go ahead and turn it on. You'll hear it power up. And we'll place it right here where you fill your transmission. I'm going to take that off here. It has magnets to hold itself to it. We'll go ahead and remove this filter. Really here. Right here and there. Okay. So when you remove the old filter, there'll be a magnet, and that'll collect all the metal and stuff. You want to make sure that the old one comes off before you install the new one. That'll just cause a headache down the road. So we'll go ahead and install the new one. And you can hear that Vac Track did its job. We'll go ahead and wipe off any oil. And then we'll just check our level. Now that we changed the filters and saved us fluid, we can put this back in our toolbox.
Handy.
Very nice. We have them located here at Union Farm Equipment too. So now, I guess we can grease it. This grease fitting's a little stubborn. I'll have to clean that one out.
Equipment, the friendly folks, the friendly folks.